All right, let's cover exponential rules. So exponential rules are the rules of exponents to solve equations. Now, this is utmost important, right? These are some fundamental concepts again of mathematics that we need to be very, very familiar with. The first one we have is the product rule. So what does the product rule tell us? I will use, for my explanations, I will use x and y's. Now x multiply x, let's say x to the power of a multiply x to the power of b, will simply give me x a plus b. We will put this into examples in a bit. What about the quotient rule? Well, the quotient rule says x to the power of a minus x to the power of b, or divided by x to the power of b, simply gives me x a minus b. What about the negative exponent rule? Let's say we have x to the power of negative 1. I can simply place this over 1. Now, an easy way to remember this would be if you have a negative exponent as a denominator, meaning the bottom of a fraction, you can swap it to the numerator. If you have the negative exponent as a numerator, you can swap it to the denominator. So the symbol will change from negative to positive. And then finally we have power to the power rule. Power to the power rule means x raised to the a multiply raised parentheses raised to the power b. This means x a multiply b. So let's see how this works. Change the color quick. Okay, I'm going to do the product rule down here. So the product rule would look something like this. Let's say we have x raised to the second power multiply x raised to the third power. Well, we know we can add 2 plus 3. That gives me x raised to the fifth power. So how would that look in practice? It would look like this. X times x times x times x times x. I wrote x 3 times over here, and here I wrote x twice. So if I count all the x's together, I have x raised to the fifth power. What about if I say x squared minus x raised to the third power, or x cubed? Well, this would look something like x times x over x times x times x. Cancel, 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 cancel. I'm left with 1 over x. Now if we want to put this into calculation, I can now say, or if I want to see how this looks in theory, I can say, well, x 2 minus 3. That gives me x raised to the negative 1. And if I follow my negative exponent rule, I know that I should change my numerator to a denominator to make it positive. So I just covered these two rules together. So let's look at the final one, which would be power to the power. Well, if I say x squared raised to raised to the third power, this would give me x squared, and x squared 3 times. Now I can add my exponents together, 2 plus 2 plus 2, which will then give me x raised to the 6th power. And now I can conclude from this information, if I need to find 6, the only way to find it is to say, well, 2 multiply 3. And that gives me x raised to the 6th power.